All right, welcome everybody. Today we're looking at Hack by a Smile, the power of social engineering. And this is part of our passion project, our learnonlinesecurity.com. If you haven't actually seen what we're up to when it comes to Learn Online Security, I recommend you write down the address and check it out afterwards. But I'm going to give you a breakdown into the power of social engineering, what social engineering is, and give you the tools, some basic tools that you can actually use to protect yourself as we go. And so I know my presentation is kind of long, so I'm going to go through it rather rapidly, and then hopefully we'll have some time at the end to go through some questions. So, fraud is costing our communities like $100 per person per year, and I honestly think that that number is quite low. It's probably doubled or tripled that by now. So in a community of Dauphin, that's about 10,000 people. That's $1 million that's lost every year to fraud. And my thought is, what if we had the power to actually peel that back? What if it was only 500,000 that was lost? What would $500,000 that remained in our community actually mean to our community? You'd be able to invest that in people, invest that in projects, pass it down to grandchildren. Over the course of years, it would be a substantial amount. And so our question is, how can we make this possible? And one of the main ways that we believe that we can do this is by educating people about social engineering security. And by understanding this one concept, you'll be able to prevent a lot of attacks and hacks and scams and things that happen along the way. I don't know if you're familiar with football at all, but in football, they do a lot of studying of plays. They study the offense, they study the defense, they look and they see where everyone is set up on the field, and they try to understand what the play is going to be before it even starts. That's a lot of what we want to do. So in cybersecurity, we've been taught kind of five different plays. We talk about emails all the time. We talk about phone calls. We talk about social media, software, and passwords. Those are kind of five main things that we talk about all the time, and everyone seems to, harp on. The problem that we have is that there's hundreds or even thousands of plays out there, and we want to give you more plays so that you can recognize the red flags before you even get to them. So if a scammer is trying to, perform an attack on you, you'll be able to recognize, oh, they're set up this way, or they use this words, or, it seems like they're trying to really rush me for some reason. And that means that I need to slow down and pull back. So our goal today is to provide you with a broader understanding of what an attack is. It's to show you how social engineering is the largest part of an attack, and then give you a few ways that you can protect yourself right away. So, part one, understanding the building blocks. We're going to just sort of assemble some random thoughts together. Just think of them as individual building blocks, and you'll use that to then further understand other parts of the process. So, what is social engineering? In a nutshell, social engineering is collecting your information and then using that information against you. That's all it is. So you have information about you. I know XYZ about you. I can then choose to use that for good or for bad. So it's not a good or a bad thing. It's just a thing that's a part of human life. So one of those things that people can learn about us is our habits. So if an attacker can understand your habits, they can predict your actions and plan attacks accordingly. So for example, if you go to the same coffee shop and you order the same coffee, I get a double double every day from Tim Hortons, wherever it is that you're going. Knowing that information, someone can then plan an attack because it's always the exact same thing. I'm not saying we have to stop going out for coffee. I'm just saying we have to understand the habits that are in our life and know that those are habits and that's public information about us. Thus, the coffee slide. How do you make your coffee? The there's some jobs that you get, like a coffee barista would be one, especially in a smaller center. Another good one is if you work at a gas station in town. Uh, Smaller places, when my wife worked at a gas station, she would know the co-op numbers of customers as they were coming in. She wouldn't even have to ask them, or she'd know, you know, they wanted these type of smokes or whatever it was. She already knew the habits of that particular customer. So there's things out there that are known about us that we operate in this particular way. Another building block to understand is that 80% of victims of social engineering know their attackers. So that could mean that there's someone within the family, there's someone at work, or they're just someone that you have seen or run into in the mall or online, and they're known to you. It's very rare that social engineering is actually done against someone that you don't physically have contact with. The next building block that we'll touch on is public data versus private data. Public data is everything that's known about you online. And so we laugh at this because a lot of oh, Brittany's here. Sorry, I have to admit people. Hi, Brittany. Sorry, I'll try to pay attention to my waiting room a little better. I need to assign someone as a co-host, make host. Tracy, you're a host. You should be able to see people as they come into the waiting room if I miss them. Uh, there will be a recording on this, Brittany, so you can jump into the beginning of it later on and just see the bit that you've missed. Uh, but looking at public data versus private data, and am I still sharing my screen? No, sharing is not turned on. Oh, Tracy, I made you the host and then it lost my thing. This is our first time using Zoom in like a really long time. And so therefore I'm the host again. There you go. Therefore, when we oh, not that one. That's my one. That's what I'm looking at. You guys can look at that for a second. So when you use a new program, then you end up forgetting how to do everything. Share. There we go. You should be seeing my slideshow again. Give me a thumbs up in the chat if you can see my slideshow. Or if you can still hear me.
Yes.
Bill says yes. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Um, Technical difficulties. What can we do? So public data versus private data. Public data is everything that's known about you. And so a lot of the old security questions, things like what's your mother's maiden name? Those are things that are actually public data because they're known about you. I can figure that out in about 20 seconds now. Just by going online, doing a Google search, I can find your birth date, where you were born. Uh, Other ones that are a little trickier, but could be found out, maybe what your first pet's name, something like that, maybe is a little more obscure, but typically pets and things like that that we talk about are children's names, where people go to school can leak out to be public. So that stuff is public. And the reason we want to know public data is because if I know that it is something that is public, I want to then, it's not that I can really peel that back and make it private. That's really hard to do. But I can understand that I shouldn't be using any of that information for passwords, for passphrases, or anything along that lines, or I should be aware. So something that should be private is something like your location at any given moment. Uh, I would protect that at all costs. Uh, I know there's lots like on our phones, there's location trackers and all of those things. And as much as possible, turn everything off so no one knows your exact location at any given time. There's other examples of private data, but that's public data, private data. So health numbers, social security, stuff like that. Another building block is that 98% of cyber attacks rely on social engineering. So, as we're protecting against different cyber attacks and we're worried about them, understanding that the better that we can understand social engineering, the better we can protect ourselves against um, cyber attacks. So, an example of this is in September 10th, 2023, there was an attack on MGM, the MGM Resort. So, that's MGM Grand. They have 9 or 10 like really big resorts across the world, as well as a bunch of other things that are attached to it. So, during the day's hustle and bustle, a group called Scatter Spider infiltrated MGM Resorts with a phone call in under 10 minutes, disrupting operations and costing MGM about $8.4 million a day. Uh, the actual attack was quite simple. They grabbed information that they found off social, and they then used that information to reset an admin's password through a help desk phone call to the resort's IT, and through that, they got access. And then they were then able to sell that access or give that access to another group called ELF-V, which are ransomware specialists. And ELF-V was then able to get into the system. And so where the problem became is once the internal uh, security team realized that there was someone in the system, they had to just pull the plug on their main server. And so by pulling the plug on their main server, they actually, because they're so dependent on it, they locked themselves out of like elevators stopped working, all their VLTs stopped working, guest room key cards stopped working. And all of these elements that were part of their business just went boop, gone. And you can imagine the chaos that would ensue after that. And so we bring up Scatter Spider and ELF-V, not saying that these are the actors that are trying to get us, but we know that if there are really big fish in the pond, that there's also really small ones that are just starting out and learning and practicing their craft on us. And so that's what we want to protect against. So what are attackers against? Like what do they get from me? Well, first they get access to me. And one of the best things that they can get from me is my information. My information is currency. It can be sold, it can be bartered, it can be used. They get access to your friends and family. If they get access to your information, then they can use your information to then jump across. It's like a spider web. Access to your network, so social network, work network, computer network, network of people. So it's not just the people that you know, it's they can then jump and use you as a stepping stool to get across. They can also pretend to be you, and they can use your connections to find their next target. Okay, so that's just a few of the building blocks that we teach in our courses, but it's enough to get us going down this track. So part two, is this how I get hacked? What's the difference? What is a hack versus an attack? And it's important to understand the difference here. So the term that people are most familiar with is a hack or a hacker or a scammer or a thief. And Hollywood has burned this image into our minds. If it involves a computer, then it must be a hack. And we have this vision of people sitting in dark rooms and they're coding away and understanding. Oh, there's Teresa. I'm just going to let her in. Hi, Teresa. Sorry, I'm slow on the waiting room. I'm still learning to pay attention to it. There is a recording of this, so I'll get a recording out to everyone once it's done, and you'll be able to catch up. So a hack versus an attack. We have this idea of if we're being attacked, like the scam, the attack, the theft, that is the most pivotal moment. But we don't understand is that there's more to it than that. Uh, the hack or the scam is just the action item in the overall attack. It's the most spectacular part, but it is just a tiny sliver. So let's look at this more. So here we have an entire attack. And you can see the hack part of it, the part where you get scammed or where something actually happens or you notice that something happens, is right in the middle there. In the beginning, uh, people are doing this not with just any willy-nilly type idea of just going out and seeing what happens. It's very rare. Often they have a targeted idea of what they're going to do. We are going to, so for example, in one of the attacks, there was a text message that was sent out to thousands of utility customers, and they said, you're short $10 on your next or $9, whatever it was. It was an off number. So let's say $9.49. On the last utility bill, we just noticed that. And so we're updating customers. If you want, you can go ahead and pay it right now. Here's a link for you. And then your account will be all caught up. And you'll be good to go for the next one. So hundreds of thousands of people got this text. And click on the link, away you go. And so their goal was, we're going to send this out. It's mass quantity. So we know that all of these are XYZ utility companies customers. And once they uh, go through this process and everybody pays us $9 and some cents, that will make us almost $1 million in this attack. And so they probably bought a list that someone else had. So that was the goal. We want to make $1 million. Step one, how are we going to do that? We're going to send this out through this. So it's very targeted. Uh, the other part of it is because it's targeted, in that example that I gave there, that group of customers was probably part of a different attack. So there may have been an attack that was actually performed against a utility company to then get that list. That list was then passed or sold to another group, which then performed the second attack. So the first target, or you as a target, you may not be the final target. Someone may actually just be using you to get to someone else. So each level of plan starts with identifying the objective of that particular plan. And then from there, they use the social engineering, which is the longest step of an attack. So this could go on for hours, days, or even months. And the more complex the target is, the longer it could be. So, for example, there was a data center that was attacked in Manitoba. And this particular social engineering, we'll call it an experiment, was done over a long period of time. There was a gentleman who was performing the attack, and he was actually dating one of the girls in the data center. And that's how he was going to get access to it. It was found out that he was trying to get into a secure area that wasn't allowed, and therefore was caught. And when they did an investigation, they found out that he was actually dating three different girls in three different data centers at the same time, all trying to get access to the data centers. And so the social engineering part of it is the biggest part. And our information right now is our biggest currency. So if we can protect our information and keep it private and understand the tactics, then we can prevent the attack from even happening in the first place. So after they've got the information, they think they've got enough, then the hack takes place. If you want to really think about this well, think about the old school bank heist movies or the jailbreaks, like escaping out of Alcatraz. They would sit there and they would watch the guards. They would look at the security cameras. They'd look for the weak points. I need this. Where can I get this information? And it's a giant social engineering experiment, which then resulted in, a theft or an escape or whatever the plan is. But it's that same type of idea. People are collecting information and then looking for opportunities to exploit it. Once the objective has been accomplished, the attacker will then move on, escape into the wind, or they'll re-engage. So if the attack goes unnoticed, so a great one of these is romance scams. So if I can develop a relationship with someone overseas and convince them to send me money, then I will just re-engage that relationship and continue trying to get them to send me more money. There's so many variations of this, but that's a good example of the re-engagement. So, a little bit of an activity here. We've been shown the planning of an attack. So, if I was an attacker, write down in chat a couple of things. There's a chat button on the bottom there somewhere. You'll be able to click on chat. Let's create a list of where attackers could go looking for information on you. If you have an idea, just throw something out in chat or jump on and let me know. Uh, what are some places that people can get information on you? Okay, Brittany's got social media. That's a great one. One of the best ones to get information on people is um, LinkedIn, actually. Workplace websites. Absolutely. Tracy says newspaper. Newspapers are actually a great source of information if you're looking for family history and trying to tie people together. When we do something called a digital footprint, where people will hire us and we'll go and we'll find out how much information is actually available about you online. And there was a gentleman that we did this for, and he was like, "Oh, you're not going to find anything on me because I'm not online. I don't have any social media profiles or anything." And he was right. He himself had no social media profiles, but his daughter, on the other hand, talked about him all the time. And there is tons of information about him online through his daughter. So it's interesting when you start to do a deep dive on yourself online, learning, oh, this is the information that's actually out there about. Any other ideas of where we can find info about ourselves online? Or it doesn't even have to be online. That's part of it. Social engineering doesn't require us to be online. I can do social engineering with zero technology at all. Chris says courts. Yeah, court records for sure. I guess technically if you went and sat in a court case too, but all right, I'll go through some of these with you here. So company websites are big because typically websites will have people like to put too much information on there. They have bios, they have their hobbies. You know, Greg likes to go jogging every morning at 6 o'clock, and so on and so forth. And so there's big bios about people that say, oh, this is their favorite sports team and all of this stuff. And so if I wanted to perform an attack on that particular office, I could then utilize that description information about you to perform a targeted attack. So, for example, why would I want to know that? If I know that you absolutely love chocolate, I can then become a delivery driver and deliver to your office and from time to time start dropping off chocolate. I build a relationship. You trust me. We did have a client that came to us and said they had a computer that was locked up with ransomware because they let a delivery driver use the computer. And so that happens all the time. So company websites, social media, emails, the response on your emails to be specific, and I'll talk about that later. Job portals, browser history, photos, dark web, applications, online directories, text messages, your friends and coworkers are a great, they're a great, what am I looking for? Resource of information about you, especially late at night at a bar. Whois databases? So that's public databases that collect information, that have information about domains and things like that. Code repositories, if you're into coding, some of those repositories and stuff. Document and image metadata, so the data that's attached to the photos that you take. Physical locations. I can physically do a sit outside and monitor your locations. Phone calls, which is phishing. Historical documents. IoT devices, so devices that are in your network. If we can gain access to what devices are actually in your network, then we can maybe find a soft spot in that and use that to find out information about you. So, what is the goal of all of this? Why even bother collecting information and attacking in the first place? And the goal is not simply about cash. Not all targets have money, and that's often the argument that we use is like, why would someone can attack me if they want? They can have all my debt. And honestly, it's not really about money all the time. It's about your information because that information can then be used against you. The information gets turned into cash eventually. Access to your network, to the people that you are associated with, and access to how your information flows. So none of us are in like thousand people businesses, but we are probably in smaller organizations. And so understanding how information flows between you and someone else, even in a family setting. So within my family, we communicate to each other in a certain way. And so if someone knows that, oh, they always use this particular chat in this particular way, they can then use that understanding of your family communication to get into that family chat and be like, okay, that's a target that I need to focus on. Your finances. Yes, there is a cash score that they're after at the end, but it's not always about finances. And it may not even be your finances. It could be your credit, so finances that you have access to, or business credit, or just your name, your identity, which could then be turned into a cash value. Uh, Long time ago, uh, Chris had his identity stolen, and it turns out that he had a mortgage in another city that he didn't even know about. And having to deal with that and work through that process was a lot of fun. And if you're interested in hearing more about that, you can look up on our YouTube channel uh, about Chris's video about having his identity stolen. He puts it all up on there. So types of attacks. There's so many different variations of attacks. These are just some of the ones that we'll just quickly go over. So phishing, which is fraudulent emails or messages. Spear phishing, so that's targeted. It's extremely targeted, and I'm after specific people. Vishing, which is manipulative phone calls. Smishing, which is deceptive text messages designed to trick you, such as that utility scam. Pretexting. So using fabricated scenarios to persuade individuals to divulge sensitive information. And this can, we just did, I think it's going up right now as our last podcast on authority-based attacks. And authority-based attacks can be used in this scenario to say, hey, this is the government calling. I need you to do X, Y, Z. And so creating a fabricated scenario to get you to share something with me. Baiting. Baiting is just providing you with something free so that you in turn will download malware or insert a USB into your computer or some other way of getting malware onto your device. So tailgating is gaining unauthorized physical access by following an authorized individual into a secure location. Example there, we talked about the fellow who was dating the girl from the data center. He was tailgating. He was trying to get access to that area by just following her through. Uh, Quid pro quo. So offering a benefit for information or access, such as posing as IT support to gain passwords. So those very quickly, some different types of attacks. So what are some practical tips that you can actually use right now and just make some small changes? We'll go over about 10 or so of these. Workplace analysis. If I was to walk by your office, even walk by your desk, or if you have people over into your home, if you have a home office, what information can I gather about you as a random customer off the street? One of the things that we often find is that I can find out how many children you have, what age they are. I can find if you have pets. Sometimes people have their passwords just pasted on the wall, whatever it is. And so by understanding all of this information, suddenly, can I have my kids' pictures in my office? Yes, yes, you can. But know that all that information is all public. And so understanding that that's public information and I shouldn't be using that for, my child's name, 123, as my password, uh, that information can easily be sought out. How much information can I gather about you online? Uh, that's where we get into our deep dives. How easy is it to find your password? So, when we're looking at our social media, for example, there's within Facebook, there's a ton of different settings that you can do to limit what information people can actually see if they're not their friend, if they're not your friends. One of the things that we say is if you put anything online, someone else has access to it. There's no such thing as private uh, online usage. So if I put anything onto a website, that company is got that information on a server somewhere for legal purposes, usually. Uh, Oftentimes, it can also go into and be resold to other people, and suddenly that information that you thought was private is now public. So one example of that that I think of comes to my head is there's I don't know where this was at, but there was talk of Reddit, a popular forum that everyone used. They were selling their information to OpenAI to be used to train AI data models. And so all of the conversations that were within that website are now not necessarily public, but they're fed into the AI model and then used by someone else that you may not have intended. And so you have to pay attention to the terms of use and copyrights and privacy policies for all the websites to know if the information that I put into the site, does it belong to me still, or am I passing my rights over to the website provider? Uh, Teams meetings or cameras like this. Oh, did my picture disappear? Look at that. Where's this? I think my camera timed out. One second. I'm going to turn that back on. There we go. I'm back. For those who missed me. What information can we get? I just looked at my thing to see what I could see. What information can we get from our cameras? And so if I had my background off, you'd be able to see the office behind me and the mess I have in the corner over there, and you'd be able to gather different things about me. Maybe my entire behind me is completely filled with Chicago Bulls stuff. I don't watch basketball, but then you'd understand that I'm a Chicago Bulls fan, and you'd learn that, oh, I have Chicago Bulls season tickets, and I always sit in the same spot with my buddies. One of the easiest things to do at an arena is actually to shoulder surf someone, and I can just get a seat behind you and be able to watch you open and access your phone, figure out what operating system you're on, what your password is, and then get into your phone. So different attacks like that, and understanding that that information that's out there, people can learn about us. And when we're in public settings, we have to protect ourselves. Uh, how to understand our digital footprint. I'll talk about this again later, but we do have on learnonlinesecurity.com under training, there is a digital footprint menu item. And that's one of the things we do is we look at all of your information online and say, hey, what actually is out there? What can you find on me? Travel is a huge one. With travel, it's so easy for our information to be collected because we're not on guard the same way. We kind of figure we've got it figured out. And one of the ways that people can figure out that we're there is like the I was here that tells people where we are at any given time. So we have our travel channel, which we did with the kids. We haven't done as much with it lately, called Our Crazy RV. And so we'd travel around and make videos as we went. And we did some really big trips where we were filming and recording and telling everyone where we were. But one of our rules was that we would not post about an area until we had left the area. And the reason for that is because if we're in the area, then people could stalk our children or any of those type of things, or understand that we were not in a certain place. Well, this has led to some pretty funny situations where we've been at home for maybe a month, and then one of my siblings will be like, "Hey, are you still out in Newfoundland or wherever?" And we're like, "No, we're at home." "Oh, according to your social media, you're not at home." And but that's the way it should be. So in business, what we like to do is we like to tell everyone, "Hey, we're going to this conference. We're going to be at this conference. We're going to be away from the office." And then I'll talk about right away, but our out of office reply says, "Hey, we're out of the office." And all of these things saying, "Hey, we're here. I'm here right now. Come see me." And without having proper precautions in place, it's very easy to pick up on that and be like, "Okay, they're gone. Now I can perform an attack on you, pretending to be you back into your office." And so that's done constantly. So post vacation pictures after the event, not right at the event. That doesn't mean it has to be days after. It just means, if I'm at the beach, I don't have to post that I'm at the beach. Instagram just released a map function that's supposed to be turned off by default, but it's not always. And so you may actually be showing all of your followers your exact location, and Snapchat has that. And there's a number of different social ones where it's posting your location at any given time. Utilize a data blocker. Not all ports are as innocent as they look. One second. I should have had this before. These are uh, these are data blockers. I'll open them up. And so what a data blocker is within a charging cord, there's a whole number of strips, we'll call them, and they transfer not only power, but they also transfer data. And so this, if I can go this way without it disappearing. Oh, this way. There we go. This is a USB one. Oh, stop sharing so I'm larger. Okay, I can do that. Stop share. Okay, wait. Okay, we'll see. If I'm bigger and it's just a little piece, a little USB piece at the end there. And you plug your USB cable into it. And what it prevents doing is I can still charge, but I can't transfer data across here. Okay, so why is that important? When I'm traveling, especially if I see a random port somewhere that I may want to plug into, we're not aware if that port that we're plugging into can transfer data or not. And so as an attacker, I can buy cords that have Wi-Fi in them. I can buy charging ports that will either transfer data or just store data on them. And so by using that, now I can download your entire phone in seconds. So let's say you have in the airport, I need to charge quick. Oh, someone left their cord here. I'm just going to use it for a few seconds. I plug into the cord. Your phone is instantly downloaded and you have no idea that it happened. So that's one example of how data blockers are important. Okay, I'll go back to here. I think that's the right screen. Out of office. I briefed on this before. The out of office, no one knows if I'm in or out of the office except for those who should know. So when I go out and about, like I went on vacation last week and was out of the country for a week, and no one knew that I was gone. And only people within the office knew, and we had people that were looking after. Often with the out of office thing, it's almost a a status symbol that, oh, I can put an out of office reply. I'm going to be out of the office from this date to this date. I'm not going to have any cell service. And what that gives the attacker is that I can send out mass emails. I look for the out of office replies that come back. And then based on that, I can then perform attacks on those particular people. Because what we like to do is we like to say, okay, I'm going to be out of the office. I'm going here. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And then, whereas my out of office reply right now is just say, I'm out of the office. You have to contact support and they'll follow up with you type idea. No indication of where I'm going or how long I'm going to be there. And the reason for that is a common scam that's used is called the gift card scam, where they'll pretend to be the boss and they'll send you an email from a fictitious email and they'll say, hey, sorry, I'm at this conference, which is true. And I have to go up on stage right away, which may or may not be true. And I'm trying to get this information. I want to have a prize to give away when I'm up there. And I'm going up in half an hour, so I need it really quick. Can you run down to Walmart, grab me a gift card, and just send me a picture of the code, and then I can give that away? And of course, it's a fictitious person, and the person without knowing runs down, does it, and away they go. And we actually had this happen to us where someone tried to attack us, and my intern reached out to me, and she's like, uh, "What's going? Someone asked me to buy, or you asked me to buy a gift card for you," and I said, "No, I didn't." And so after that, we ramped up our security and said, "Hey, I will never ever ask you to buy me a gift card. And even if I do for real, then you have permission to say no." Uh, so those handling matters in my absence automatically intercept the where is he questions. You can utilize a passphrase. We started to encourage family passphrases or workplace passphrases. So it's just some code to prove who you are and so that people know that you are who you say you are. It's like the old time spy movies where, well, even new ones where it's like, oh, the weather outside is gloom, or how's the weather? And it's like the weather outside is gloomy, and then you know that you that's the passphrase for that you know who you're talking to. So what if it gets out that you are out of the office? So first rule, verbally confirm texts or email requests from you or your staff. Don't react immediately to texts or emails from your device. So one of the greatest tools that attackers have is urgency. This is a problem. It needs to be taken care of right now. You can't get off the phone. We have to deal with this now type idea. Uh, Urgency is the biggest part of any attack. And so you want to limit that urgency as much as possible and slow down. Never forget to assign someone in the organization to cover you while you're out, or if you're just at home, to have someone who is responsible for uh, looking after your stuff. Another thing that we often look over because we don't want to talk about it is the thing of blackmail. And this is a reminder, everybody can be exposed to blackmail in your organization. So if someone has a particular habit or a particular thing that has happened that's private information or supposed to be private, and an attacker can learn that about you, they can then leverage that information to uh, make you do what they want. So, sick child, pending divorce, gambling debt, possible bankruptcy, whatever it is, they can then utilize that. Workplaces often say leave your personal life at home, and that's not actually realistic because we're people. And when we're at work, we're still mulling over personal life issues. And so, as if you're a business owner looking after people, or if you're self-employed looking after yourself, or if you're retired, then still looking after yourself is important. We believe that people come first. We have to protect people, and then people will protect themselves, their families, their communities, and the businesses and organizations that they're a part of. A big topic right now is AI, and AI is exploding in more ways than one, but some of the biggest ways that AI is used in social engineering is one is to scrape profiles, so to find out information on you. And it's also made the creation of spam much easier with better spelling, targeted emails. I can rip off so much stuff so quickly now that we no longer have the Prince of Dubai trying to get us to send doubloons to him. It's now ramped way up so that those emails. So we have to be a lot more diligent within the AI space. And we go into this a lot deeper with some of our other training. So is training important? I'd encourage you to check out some of our other training. Most companies nowadays run a mandatory video course, which takes about 30 minutes to complete. And most people who do online training courses complete them in their absence by clicking through material. And I have friends who have admitted this to me that they've been doing the training for their organization for so long that they don't even have to pay attention anymore because the training hasn't changed in 20 years. By comparison, if you look at something like school divisions, which require teachers to attend in-person personal development days, the training is consistent and more in line. So I would encourage you to get into the habit of continual learning. And so how does Learn Online Security help you? Well, we teach you to defend yourself against costly social engineering attacks. And ways that you can do that for absolutely free is I'll jump across here is that our Learn Online Security podcast, it's on YouTube, it's on Apple, Amazon Music, all of the podcast apps. You can listen to our free training. We also do some topical videos from time to time as we have time to do it, as well as on learnonlinesecurity.com. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram and all of those things. And continue to learn and to build and develop. And so the goal really is to add more red flags to your portfolio so that when you see a particular attack taking shape in front of you, can you be, wait a minute, I've seen this before, or this sounds funny, or this sounds fishy. Uh, and then slowly start to peel back the layers and figure out, is this true or is this not true? Sometimes it's true and sometimes it's not. With that in mind, did anyone have any questions? I just want to thank everyone for hanging out with me for this hour. You can either put them in the chat or you can jump off, and I think the microphones work. Where am I, Chris? Chris asks where I am. According to my background, I am on a beach in Newfoundland, but that's not where I am. I'm sitting in my office. One more thing before anyone takes off is we're going to select a random person, but we're giving everyone a 25% off Smile 2025. So if you use this code Smile 2025, you can get 25% off any of our digital footprint or online courses on learnonlinesecurity.com. And we'll send that out in an email so you don't have to remember it right now. But that's all fully available to you. And we're also going to send out an email for everyone who attend. We're going to randomly draw one person, and you're going to get a gift certificate to be used across any of the Bankert family of companies. So, is it, Bill asks, is it safe to let Google store our passwords? That's a good question. I'm
And
waiting for
now I'm going to unmute
Chris to jump
myself.
on.
Now I'm going to unmute myself. The answer
Yeah,
is sort of.
that's a longer question, Bill. And
It's are you safe with them storing your words as long as you have it's not shared? The answer is yes.
your microphone's
Once you
still
get
cutting out from
outside of
time to
it,
time, Chris.
then no. I'm still kicking out time to time. I'm sorry.
Yeah, just write that into chat. That'd be helpful. How do you differentiate between information that should and shouldn't be shared when it comes to marketing? Example, posting that you'll be at a conference or trade show that your customers can come see you, posting information about your staff so customers can get to know you better, et cetera, et cetera. Thanks, Dallas, for that question. The one thing about information is it's okay to share information and to say that you're at a conference. We're not saying that you never do that. What we're saying is that you understand that you're saying that and that you put rules and policies in place. So say that, okay, we're going to promote that Richard is going to XYZ conference. He's going to be in Winnipeg at the end of the month. And we're going to say that. And everyone in the organization is aware of it. And here are the rules about it. And that if Richard reaches out on a random or no, even better. Richard will never reach out to you by his personal email. Richard will never call you and ask you to buy gift cards or this or that. And so by understanding and having some of these policies in place, then your organization is prepared in case that attack comes. So it's more about preparation ahead of time. And if you don't have to put that information out there, if you're just putting that information out in order to get publicity, then it's better to limit it and try to think of more creative ways to do it.
Hey, Richard, I selected it better, Mike. And I did respond to Bill's in there quickly, but I'm going to say it again. If the Google account is yours and yours only, and it's not on a shared computer, I'd feel comfortable leaving it there. There are better password vaults out there that are free. Does that answer your question, Bill?
All right. Did anyone have any other questions before we wrap this all up? I do want to thank everyone for joining us. It's been awesome. We will put this together in a package later on and send out a recording along with all of the stuff in an email. That will probably be more towards the end of the week, but we will try to get that out to you as quickly as possible. Or maybe it'll be later today. We'll see how well we do. Awesome. Well, thanks everybody, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, Richard. Thank
You're
you.
very welcome. Our next workshops, we have this workshop, and where you signed up for the workshops, we actually have other ones coming up. Our next one is going to be on whether or not you should update from Windows 10 to Windows 11, or if you have to. Chris is going to be leading that one. And then Dallas is just prepping right now a workshop on free marketing tools. We don't really know what the name of it is fully going to be yet, but he's putting together a marketing workshop. And then I'll be doing another Hack by a Smile workshop in September. So if you enjoyed this and you think your friends should attend, that's online for registration already. And so we'll include that in the email as well. But thanks so much. And if you have any questions later on as you're mulling about them, don't hesitate to reach out and ask us about them.